how the girlies do the stack thing, because this is stressing me out. So I went a little bit crazy and bought a whole bunch of books. So we're gonna do a book haul. As you just saw, I have this gigantic stack of books that I would like to go through with you. I have obviously done quite a bit of book shopping over the last, this is honestly from the last week, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I go weeks without buying books, and other times I buy 15 books in 1 week. Let's talk about them. I'm gonna put these in some sort of an order of like least to most excited about. Don't ask me why I bought books I'm least excited about. I don't want to talk about it.
A few moments later.
And I think I've kind of got them separated so that way we can kind of talk about like where they came from and whatnot. I'm gonna start with books that I bought last weekend. I went to Goodwill, and then I went to a place called Wall of Books in Oviedo. This is coconut water and tangerine juice. So I'm gonna start with the books that I got at Goodwill. I got confusion because I'm pretty sure I got 3 books. Oh, so I did buy 3 books at Goodwill. One of them was YA, and it's like young YA, so we're not even gonna try that. The second book that I got from Goodwill is called The Reckless Oath We Made. I've literally never seen this book. I've never heard anyone talk about it, but the inside sounds so interesting. So it says, Z is nobody's fairy tale princess. Almost 6 foot with a redhead's temper and a shattered hip, she has a long list of worries. Never-ending bills, her beautiful and gullible sister, her 5-year-old nephew, her housebound mother, and her drug-dealing boss. Z may not be a princess, but Gentry is actually a knight, complete with sword, armor, and a code of honor. 2 years ago, the voices he hears called him to be Z's champion. Both shy and autistic, he's barely spoken to her since, but he's kept watch, ready to come to her aid. When an abduction tears Z's family apart, she turns to the last person she ever imagined, Gentry, and sets in motion a chain of events that will not only change both of their lives, but bind them to each other forever in one of the most moving and complicated love stories of our time. The Reckless Oath We Made redefines what it means to be heroic, revealing the strength, honor, and power that lie at the heart of love. What? This sounds like an amazing romantasy, but has this as the cover. It's literally like, no, I was gonna say, like, this is what happens when you actually read the synopsis before you buy the book. No, I did not read the synopsis before I bought this. I simply saw that it was a book of the month book, and the blurb on the front of the book says, many things can bind two people, love, a common enemy, a dangerous promise. Very intriguing. I also got a book of the month bookmark in that book, so that was cool. The other book that I bought at Goodwill is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So I've seen this book a whole bunch over the last year or so. It's probably been out significantly longer than that, but I've just seen it a lot of places over the last year. Figured I would pick it up, even though I don't love hardbacks, simply because I've seen it everywhere. I think the cover is beautiful, and I didn't realize that this is by the same author who wrote The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I have also not read that book, but Ace and I watched the movie a couple of months ago, and it was wild and heartbreaking and just so emotional. The storytelling was amazing, so I kind of figured from watching that movie that the book was probably amazing. So anyways, that's why I bought that book. Moving on to the books that I bought at Wall of Books in Oviedo. First one was a rebuy for me. This is You by Carolyn Kepnes. This, even though says now a Lifetime series, I do not know what that means because this is obviously a Netflix show. If you've not seen it, where have you been? Season 5 just came out. I bought this book many years ago when the first season of the show dropped on Netflix, so probably like 2019. I was obsessed. I was completely obsessed with Joe Goldberg and I needed more. So I literally picked up the book. This was even like before I was into reading. And I read it. I loved it. It was amazing. And I let my mom borrow it and never got it back. And now she doesn't know where it is. So that would be why I rebought this book. There is a ripped page in here. That is really unfortunate. Anyways, the next book that I got is called Paris Delincourt is About to Crumble by Alexis Hall. This will be my first Alexis Hall book. I'm excited about this because Alexis Hall seems to write like exclusively LGBTQ plus books. Obviously, you can tell by the cover that this is one of them. It seems like something I would really enjoy. So the last book that I got at Wall of Books is Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. I have not read a single book by Catherine Cowles. However, bestie Jessica from Peace Love Books, she constantly raves about this author, about this series in particular. I didn't know until I heard her talking about it that Catherine Cowles really specializes in romantic suspense, and romantic suspense is kind of like slowly becoming one of my favorite genres. Had to pick this up, plus it is the edition with the sprayed edges, and it was only $10, so I just felt like I couldn't pass it up. The rest of the books that I bought are from the website that shall not be named. I know people are really not happy about it. It is what it is. I'm broke and still supporting the authors, so the first book I'm going to talk about is called All In by Emma Scott. This is the second book in the Full Tilt duology. If you watch my last video, you will have seen that I read this first book at the beginning of this month, absolutely loved it. Didn't realize that they were on Kindle Unlimited and immediately ordered the books. So here we are. Now I have the second one physically. If I shall decide to read physically, I have it. The next book that I got is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I also have Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. However, even though this isn't like a cohesive series, I don't think, I did hear somewhere that this was like the first book in this kind of like loose series. So I really wanted to give it a shot first before reading the other one. And I'm super excited about this one. Do you see this man? This cover is beautiful. The synopsis sounds amazing. I cannot wait to read this. The next couple of books that I bought are an Abby Jimenez series. So I got Life's Too Short and The Friend Zone. I bought this because I bought the middle book, Happily Ever After Playlist, a couple of weeks ago and didn't realize that it was the second book in a trilogy. So I then had to go and buy book 1 and book 3. The next couple of books that I bought, I am literally so excited to own, to be able to read, because unlike a lot of the books I've already talked about, a lot of them are on KU, and I, A, didn't realize that, B, just kind of like buying books, so it's whatever, but I'm always a little disappointed in myself when I buy a physical book without checking if it's on KU first, because I was trying to make it a goal this year to stop buying books that I didn't absolutely know that I needed to have, you know? Or books that I couldn't get elsewhere. So these next two books, I know for a fact, are not on KU, because if they were, I would have read them immediately. So instead, I had to go and buy them physically. The first one is called Battle of the Bookstores by Allie Brady. I am super duper excited to read this. To my knowledge, and obviously by the title and the cover, it seems very like the movie You've Got Mail from the 90s. And I only recently watched this movie at the beginning of this year and absolutely loved it. So I really think I'm going to like this book. The next book that I'm super, super, super excited to have and read is called Give Me Butterflies by Julianne Meadows. I am super duper excited to have this and read this. Can we just look at this cover? This cover is freaking stunning. Every single person that I have heard talk about this book has rated it 5, if not 6 stars. So I have high hopes that this one is going to be a favorite of the year if I can figure out a way to get to it. The last 4 books that I'm going to talk about just arrived today, but I want to talk about one book before I get to the last 4. I was going to wait until tomorrow to film this video because I do have one more book on the way from Amazon. However, we were supposed to have repair people come today to fix our bathtub faucet, which has been leaking for months. They did come this morning, but for, I don't know, the 5th time in a row, they basically said that it's more complicated than they are capable of, so they have to hire another company to come in and do it. They're gonna have to cut into my bedroom wall to get inside the bathroom, like pipes and whatnot. Long story short, they're gonna have to come back another day. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna come here tomorrow. So if they come here tomorrow, they're gonna be here for a while. They're gonna be literally right there behind that door, making a whole bunch of noise, plus Ruby is going to be losing her mind. I figured I would just go ahead and film it today. However, like I said, I'm still waiting on one book to show up in the mail. So that book is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I have literally, I can't get away from this book. I have been seeing it literally everywhere, and at this point, I bought it surely because of FOMO. I do understand that it's a sapphic vampire romance. Well, not necessarily a romance. It's a sapphic vampire book. I have never read anything by V.E. Schwab.
What?
I know. It's crazy. I don't know how we got all the way here without, I don't know. So at this point I have FOMO, so I went ahead and bought it, and I'm going to make myself read it, and we are going to be a literary girly, okay? Anyways, so the other 4 books that showed up today, the first one, I am so excited to have this. This is a little bit outside of my usual reading, but again, I'm gonna completely blame this on FOMO. This is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. Hopefully that's how you say her name. I have literally been seeing this book everywhere. People are nonstop talking about it and how amazing it is. And again, everybody that I've seen talk about this has pretty much rated this 5, if not 6 stars. So I am ready to sob. The next book that I bought is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is another one where I have not jumped on the bandwagon yet. I have myself written a cowboy romance, but have not yet read a cowboy romance. So we're gonna try and catch up on that train and start reading some cowboy romances, starting with Lila Sage. Again, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series, so I'm very excited to start it. The next book that I bought is not new by any means, but I started a journey earlier this year of reading Emily Henry books.
It's about time.
Yeah, late to the bandwagon on this one as well. But I started my Emily Henry journey earlier this year by reading Great Big Beautiful Life. And for me, it was a great big beautiful flop. So after reading that book and realizing that I enjoyed Emily Henry's writing style, I just absolutely hated that story in that book. I did decide to give her other books a chance. So my mom and I buddy read Beach Read a couple of weeks ago. I think I read it last month. It was an iffy 5-star for me. I didn't necessarily want to rate it 5 stars. I'm like, people had a gun to my head. I didn't want to rate it 5 stars because after I got done reading it, I sort of had that 5-star feeling, but also sort of didn't have that 5-star feeling. So I was going to rate it like a 4, maybe a 4.5 star, which is what my mom rated it as well. However, my copy of Beach Read, it's a physical copy, and it was the first book that I decided to annotate. And boy, was there a lot of tabs. After I read it and kind of had a moment to sit and think about it, I decided to bump my rating up to 5 stars because I just kept thinking, there's no way that you could have this many highlighted quotes and things that happened in the book, things that made you laugh, things that made you cry. And truly, this book made me sob. So for me, I kind of can't not rate a book 5 stars if you bring that much emotion out of me. Like, whether I enjoyed the story or not is honestly kind of beside the point. It's about how the book made me feel. I say all of that to say that I finally decided to buy Funny Story by Emily Henry. Though I have only read Great Big Beautiful Flop and Beach Read, there are obviously a couple of other Emily Henry books that I have not read yet. People We Meet on Vacation, as well as Happy Place. However, I don't necessarily have the desire to read those books. Everybody, for the most part, says that this is Emily Henry's best book, and that's pretty much where I want to leave my Emily Henry journey. It's by reading her best book, and we're just gonna leave on a high note. So excited to read this one. The last book that I'm going to talk about is also bought sheerly off of FOMO, as well as, I was going to say I know what it's about. I absolutely do not know what this book is about. I go into 95% of books blind, so I don't hardly know anything about them most of the time. And the same goes for this one. FOMO has gotten to me. I've seen all the book girlies that I love watching on BookTube talk about this book lately. I'm trying to be a romantasy girly, so here we are. I bought Nightshade by Autumn Woods, and I am so excited to read this. I was devastated that this was not on KU and immediately had to go buy it. It's pretty much the reason why I bought the last 4 books that I talked about, because I was just like, I may as well go big or go home. So anyway, this is the last book that I bought and am gonna talk about in this video. So yeah, this one on the front says, he's her enemy, she's his everything. That alone has me like, I cannot wait to read this book. All right, book besties, that was my book haul. Hopefully this is the last book haul for quite some time, but it was fun chatting with you all. If you like this video, please comment below what book of mine that I bought you're most excited for me to read. If you've read any of these books, tell me all of your thoughts about it. I would love to hear it. Please like this video and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.